All right, episode 89. Today we sit down with Johanna, a brand new agent who has penned 18 deals in her first 60 days. That's amazing, by the way. We're going to get started right now.
Welcome to the only real estate podcast worth listening to, with your hosts Nick Good, Matt Kelderman, and Brian Force. Combined, they have 26 years of experience and have sold over 1,500 homes. Join them each week as they bring you everything you need to know about real estate. And now, here are your hosts, Nick, Matt, and Brian.
All right, we are back, episode 89. Hopefully everyone had an amazing holiday. This is our first episode back in 2021.
Change the scenery.
First one since Armando.
Yes.
I painted this wall. There's 2 coats of blue on here, so you guys are welcome. Where's my camera? Over there?
I got screwed on the setup here. I look so dark.
No, I'm in your shot. Hang on.
Are you gonna share cams?
Once we get the lion painting that I want behind me, y'all are going to be in for a treat. It's huge.
Yeah.
You're gonna love it.
I mean, you ruined the surprise. That was going to be the surprise in our OnlyFans subscription.
Yeah.
That was
Brian ordered a new painting.
Yes, new painting. Go to our OnlyFans page, the only real estate fans page worth listening and watching. I mean,
We should set that up. So here's the thing: is like we should set that up. Like we tried to start the coaching thing, right? You guys wouldn't give us $99.99 for that.
Yeah, right.
So maybe if we start an OnlyFans for coaching, then you guys will show up. Give us $20 a month, because I know people on there who do not deserve to be making money, and yet they are.
$20 a month, and I think you get tips on there. Not that I've ever been. I've heard from Aaron Foster.
I think you get tips on there, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's what Aaron Foster told us.
Exactly.
So, look, if this is your
Foster
first
up.
time listening, or if you have not done so yet, please do a couple of things. If you're not in our real estate group, go to the only real estate group worth being a part of on Facebook. Second thing I'm going to ask you to do, go over to iTunes, right? If you're listening to this on iTunes, or even if you don't, let's say you're listening, you watch this on YouTube, you're watching this on Facebook right now, go to iTunes, leave us a review there. That's how we get more listeners, and that's how we're able to continue driving the show. And we've got an amazing special guest today, Johanna.
Hello.
There you go.
Look at that. I have my phone now. It's been a long time since I've been on camera with a guest, so I have to remember that I'm on camera. Like, because what people don't realize about this show is like we get to jack around in between when other people are talking and share the show.
Hide with way better camera angles. We can't do it quite as well now because Tamara's out here. So much goes on behind the scenes. Like you can clearly see my computer and switcher and the guests and wires and stuff. We're gonna work this out, I promise. But there's
First one, whatever.
There's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes.
No, we wanted to get this show cranked out, and Joanna's in her first 60 days penned it, and that means put under contract for those that are in different states, and however you're terming your deals there, your transactions. But she penned it 18 and put under contract 18 deals in her first 60 days. That's huge and amazing. But in a couple of weeks, in a couple of episodes, we've got Tariq El Moussa from Flip or Flop coming on. Amazing. I mean, he saw the Armando episode and was like, hey, I need to be on this. And I'm going to tell you up front what I'm going to ask him. I also would love for this to parlay into getting his wife on, Heather, who's on Selling Sunsets.
Man, yeah. I think we could do that.
Yeah. So, please go promote this show. The more watch, the more subscribers that we can get to this, the more reviews. Yeah. It's easier to get these bigger named guests that are coming on. So I think we've got some good things happening in 2021. So, Joanna, tell us a little bit about yourself, right? So you, in your first 60 days, you're still only a couple months into the business, right?
Yeah, I actually started taking my courses like during like the pandemic, like when everything shut down. I was working at my mom's restaurant. I was running that, and I didn't plan on going into becoming an agent whatsoever. I thought I've got downtime. I was into bigger pockets, so I figured I'll get my license, and then once everything's back up and running, I'll use like all of my money that I make from the restaurant to invest in properties, and I'll be my own agent. But I never thought that I was gonna actually help other people buy and sell properties.
So walk us through. So you get licensed. You join the Her Group DFW, right? Mm-hmm. And not knowing what you don't know, you just follow their system, right? You start lead generating and you start getting deals. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, in my first 12 months, I think I did 3
Yeah, I was going to
transactions.
ask that. Does anybody know what the average? Because the average agent, what is it, like 7 or 8 deals a year? Does anybody know what the average first year agent does?
I did 7 my first year, so like that was like to the point where, and I'll get into this in a minute, but like to the point where she and I were having a conversation about what she should do. In the first month, I said, I don't really know what you should do because honestly, you're kicking everybody's ass who I've ever seen in real estate. So like I feel like I should just stay out of your way.
I'm asking you, what should I be doing? Like you're crushing.
I didn't pen 11 deals last month. You tell me what to do. So, but no, I think it's 7 deals in your whole. I think it's on average 7 deals a year for most agents. Maybe first year is close-ish to that. I don't know.
It's got to be a little bit less even. So essentially, you went from waiting tables. I mean, you ran the whole restaurant, right? But how I first met you was you're building relationships with people through a totally different industry. You get into the business, and in your first, here's what what's even cooler about this: 18 in your first 60 days. But you had Johanna joined us on September 8th, so she's only even been with us for a few months, and you got licensed like a week before that.
Yeah.
And she penned 11 deals in her first 30 days. We have over 200 agents nationwide in our expansion model, and Johanna was number 1 in our entire nationwide franchise in her first month that she was a licensed agent. So I'm going to put a little pressure on you here because a lot of times we just find success and we're not really sure what happened. What is it that you feel might be the difference between most agents where we have an 80% or 87% burnout rate in the first year and someone like you that can come in and go and put up 11 deals in their first month?
Honestly, I think it's hard work. Because when I started, I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea. Like, and all these people are rock stars. So, they know more than me. They're smarter than me. So if I can work harder and work more than they do, then that's just, when I worked at the restaurant, I would close up at 3 a.m. and then be back at 7 or 8 a.m. for opening. So to me, hard work was just something that I grew up, like that is expected, that you either work hard or that's it. So to me, it's like, if I can work harder than everyone else, then something will come of it. I didn't expect that anyone would trust me to buy or sell, but I've learned so quickly that now I hope that people can trust that that I can buy and sell.
It was so refreshing for you to come in with that mindset too, because I think for me, again, Brian and I have talked about this. We came out of the restaurant industry too, right? Like, and that was the one thing that I was for sure set me apart for the first few years, is that I would drive 2 hours for a deal. Like, right, maybe I wasn't the best person to advise them in that neighborhood, but I was not afraid to do the work part of it. And seeing her come in, and when you start running a team, you know when people are using the systems you have, or you know where their lead sources are coming from. Like, I knew it wasn't just like her sphere that she came in with and just had all this business stacked up. She legitimately came in and grabbed things that me as an agent on this team had complete access to and was doing absolutely nothing with, right? And it really made me sit down and think, like, dude, you're not putting in the hours of work that a new agent's going to come in and put. And it's just that stupid ass old analogy that we all talk about. Like, there's somebody who's going to come in that's hungrier than you are and outwork your ass really, really quick. And it was awesome because she came in towards the tail end of what ended up being a pretty good year for the team, but what was a down year units-wise for me, and just started throwing units on the board to where I all of a sudden was like, dude, there's not somebody on the team who's equaled my unit count in a few months what I did in the whole first 2 quarters of the year.
100%.
Right? And it was kind of inspiring to watch, especially because it was from stuff I had access to also.
So,
go ahead.
So let me ask, right? You jump in, and out of these 18 contracts, right? I know people are going to ask these questions or have questions like this. Mm-hmm. These weren't, out of the 18, these weren't necessarily people that already knew you, were they?
I didn't know anyone.
So this was all cold contacts, cold leads, basically.
My first sphere of influence one was one of my last 2 from last year, I think, and I've only had like 2. Yeah, I've only had 2 from my sphere of influence. In fact, I feel guilty because I don't do enough with my sphere of influence because I've been so focused on doing everything else that I haven't touched them enough.
So that's your $1 million question. I think people want to know, where did those first 17 out of the 18 come from then?
So I started in Boomtown, so leads given to us from the team. My biggest one was just someone that was sitting there, and I was just calling. I was literally Herg gives us this spreadsheet where it's like your first week you call, I think, 100 or 250. It challenges you to do 100 or 250 a day. It's like, well, I'm gonna do it because it's all or nothing, right? So I was just calling, and literally that was it. I was just calling. I I started through those leads, and then I was like, well, I'll try some expireds, and I think that brought something as well. And then I figured, well, there's Zillow, so there's phone numbers there, so I'll call them too. I picked up 2 FSBOs that way as well. It's just a little bit of everything, honestly. I'd have to go back and really see where they came from.
I'm gonna tell you right now, this is where I get.
If I hadn't witnessed it, it would be just like another real estate agent story. It's so silly, dude.
And look, I know Johanna really well now, so I don't want you to take offense to this at all. I'm saying this as a compliment. What's amazing about Johanna's story is the diversity of her lead sources. It just goes to show you, like, it's all just about showing up and doing the work. Anybody can do this, because the other part of this is with her expires and her FSBOs. The first few times that I heard Johanna talk to expireds and FSBOs, I was like, this is awful. But here's the deal. I was too judgmental because it freaking worked.
Yeah.
And 2, like, it just goes to show you, I tend to equate a lot of things to boxing and stuff as well, where I grew up. But, like, we think of real estate as an individual sport. It's not an individual sport. You might be an individual, but there's a finite amount of business out there. So it's you and everyone else competing for that business. What Johanna has done better than anyone else is shown up and done the work every damn day. We used to have this banner in my boxing gym that says your next opponent is training harder than you right now. Right? That's sort of the mindset that she brings to the game, is like, look, if I don't do this, there are 100 other 1,000 real estate agents in Texas that are going to do this, and I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? Like, just showing up and doing the work. This is why I think Johanna is such a success story, is because when you hear somebody did 18 deals in their first 60 days, you go, okay, what's your secret? What's your one lead gen? So, like, it's easy for us to be like, oh yeah, Ben Caballero sells 50 million houses a year, but really it's all new builds. Is that we can sort of explain those things away. With Johanna, we can't explain it away. She's got different lead sources, different ways of converting people, and most of it wasn't even her sphere. If that's not proof positive that you just get your ass in the office and work hard every day, you're gonna be successful. I don't know what is.
So let's break that down. Your first week. Let's go back in that first week, right? You don't know anything. You have the 200 call a day challenge, right? I'm sure they put some scripts. They give you some training on that. But until you go through those calls, right, it's going to sound rough, right?
Oh yeah.
And so when you're going and making those calls, go back to that mindset that first week, and explain your thought process. Was it just believing in that system, believing in that hey, obviously the hurt.
We're trying something new, folks. Clubhouse exists, so we're gonna try and go on Clubhouse. I don't think it's gonna work though.
Sorry.
Yeah. So is this that first week? Were you scared to make those calls? You're just like, screw it. I'm going to believe in this blind faith that her DFW won't steer me in the wrong direction. Obviously, they have this training in place for a reason. So go back to that first week, because that's a lot of hang up that most people have.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I think a huge part of it was after I met Brian and Matt. That was like, okay, if these two guys, like, if I can fall back on them.
Like, these two idiots will be successful.
No, I will. You meet people, and I always feel like when I meet someone, I can gauge something from that. So I think I was, I don't know, blindly hoping that I could fall back on them if anything went terribly wrong. I was terrified, and I was like, I just need a call. Like, I just need a call. I hadn't done any script practice, actually. Didn't start script practicing until I think like a month later, and I was like, oh shoot, like maybe it would help. And it definitely has.
So how many calls were you making that first week? Were you hitting that challenge?
Close to, if not exceeding it. Yeah, because I was just I would come in and they'd make the calls, and then when I went home, I obviously didn't have to-dos or any contracts or anything, so I was like, I'll just make some more calls. I'll just make some more touches. And in fact, I was telling Matt that I get a better response rate in the evening, for the most part, than I do in the mornings.
So let me break down. We could end the show right now, because I'm going to break down what she just said. Is that just doing the calls, right? It was showing up, doing the calls, and it's a numbers game on that system right there. So you who wouldn't want to pin 18 contracts? And first off, who wouldn't want to pin 18 contracts in 12 months?
I would.
Exactly.
I had a decent 2020, and I would very much appreciate to do that.
So you did that again. Yeah. You did that in 60 days just by showing up and making the phone calls. You weren't getting bombarded with, I need to make a website. You weren't getting bombarded like, what text message do I send? You weren't getting bombarded like, what email? Like, what does my social media look like? You're not even sending stuff out to your sphere, and you're just following the calls, you weren't even practicing. You were just getting in conversation with people.
Well, and then the hours that you spend on every individual deal, you were able to leverage out to
Yeah.
RTCs, operations
Yep.
directors. I think
Oh,
that's good,
definitely.
too.
Oh yeah, there's no way. And even then, like with all the help, like I am so grateful that I ran into the Hurt group, because otherwise I would have probably quit like the first month, because.
Well, no, keep finishing.
Well, I mean, there was just days when I would make 100 phone calls and there was nothing, so I would just lay down in my bed and literally cry. Like I was just like, oh my God, this sucks. What did I do? But I was like, okay, just get up and make another phone call. Like
I think one of the
get
things
over
about that like I enjoy, not about her group or teams or whatever, like even because it was even back when I used to go hang out with Brian in the call room or come down to Nick's office or whatever. It is just so nice to be in the trenches with other people in this whole thing, because this is so brutal at times, right? Like we're not even talking about like the fact that you've had to overcome pretty difficult deals too. Like we're all in the office trying to guide you through this one where you got a lender totally just killing a deal,
Yep.
right? And you're starting to deal with the real life real estate agent problems, and doing that stuff when you've got other people around you to advise you is so much more fulfilling than just sitting in your office trying to hack your way through the defeat and successes of this business all by yourself and weather that storm on your own.
I do love that mindset too, though, because like what you said before, like there'll be times you make a whole day's worth of phone calls and nothing really happened, and you'd be upset about it, but you come back and you grind it out the next day. We have this funny thing in entrepreneurship where like we need immediate results all the time, and I think this is really one of the reasons why people that have been in service industry and stuff, I think, do really well in real estate. People that maybe come from the corporate world, I think there's an adjustment period there, because the reality is, when you're working for a paycheck every week, you just do your work and you get your paycheck every 2 weeks. But you don't really think about the individual production you're doing every single day. Like the reality is, in your corporate job, do you really think you're doing important shit every day, 5 days a week? There's some dumb stuff in there that you're doing, but you don't go home and cry about it. You know what I mean? So in real estate, it's important to go, you know what? It didn't happen for me today. I'm going to take my lumps and I'm going to show up the next day and do it. We have a lot of trouble accepting that, but in the corporate world, it's the same way. You're not being productive every day.
Probably being productive a less amount of time, because you realize that paycheck is showing up no matter what the hell you do, right?
Trying not to get fired.
And that's the thing is, I think for a lot of us, and what you were, and maybe there's a little bit of the restaurant agent mentality, or the like the restaurant person mentality, is that like, yeah, you got to go show up to work, but the hours kind of suck. You got to do side work. You got to do all these other things that kind of lead you to not having that 9 to 5 mentality. I showed up at 9, I worked till 5, I got my money. Yeah. Like there is still a part of it's like, I got to work a double hungover because I got to make rent, right? Like there is that part of it that when you're in the restaurant industry.
I mean, especially like, I don't want to get too far down the service industry hole, but like, bro, there's a lot of entrepreneurship in service industry. If you've ever worked a 9-hour day bar where most people don't show up and you were the solely responsible for marketing it and getting people to come show up, that's entrepreneurship 101 from the beginning. There's a lot of those elements in that type of thing for sure.
Well, Raquel commented on here that, Johanna, your persistence is outstanding, right? And in the book that Logan Stout wrote called Grit Factor, they talk about the people that you would deem as successful have this high grit factor, meaning they're persistent. You would make 100 calls and nothing would happen. You wanted to cry. You lay down in bed, but you're like, I just need to make one more call. I just need to make one more call. So you believed in this system enough of there's that image out there of someone digging for diamonds. Like there's two people, right, digging for diamonds, and the person that gave up was that close to hitting the mother lode of diamonds, right? And you hit the mother lode of diamonds because you did not give up, right? And I think that for 2021, especially this year, we're already starting with crazy ass news going on with everything going on. You got a lot of distractions.
I know Dr. Dre's in the hospital.
Dude, he had a brain aneurysm. That makes me so sad.
Yes. So you got Dre who's in the hospital. You got protesters storming the Capitol building right now.
I feel like the Capitol building is so empty when Congress is in session. I feel like they're going to walk into an empty building, though, right?
Very symbolic.
You've got a lot of people that are making excuses. Yeah. And I will tell you right now, like I know that Brian and I have been chatting back and forth about listings, and I've had multiple conversations about the lack of inventory, and
I'm gonna give you I don't mean to interrupt, and give you some insight into like the lives of maybe people that run teams and stuff like that. Like when we're watching Netflix late at night, most people are texting like just dumb memes to each other and having fun. Nick and I are like, I'm gonna burn the whole team down. What are you doing for listings? I'm freaking out. Do you like this company, this company, this company? Where are your leads coming from? Like all night, me and Nick till like 2 a.m. We're like freaking out.
It was. I mean, I was headed to the gym on that one. I'm texting you on the Stairmaster. I'm like, all right, dude. Like, I can't even see straight on where they're coming from. But we can allow that to hamper us making our calls, or we can allow that to get it creep in our heads to blame, be a victim, because it's like, oh, there's no listings out there.
Right.
There's no place to put buyers, so that's why my business is down.
Yep.
You know, I use that. You know, in the last 60 days of 2020, that's what held us back from doing over 60 million in closed volume.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm looking, I'm like, well, that means we didn't push hard enough. So actually, we played victim. I use that as a card. I'm like, well, shit. We just didn't make enough calls. We didn't pick it up on time, and I didn't make the right pivots.
No.
And I don't know what y'all go through, right? Because y'all have gone through seasons and stuff, and I'm too new at this. But to me, it was like, when I hear excuses in this business where you literally sit down in front of a computer and make thousands of dollars, and then I go back and think, okay, like I don't come from a real estate background. I don't even come from what you would call money background. So to see, like, this might get a little personal, right? But like my mom literally crossed the border at least 5 times, right? Wow. At least 5 times. Okay. And then she gets here. She comes here at 17. She doesn't speak the language. It's not her culture. She's all alone because there's no family. She's like the first one from the family to come here. And then open and close 5 restaurants in a new country. And then for me to say, oh my God, this person hung up on me, like I quit.
This is not shit.
Do you really have excuses? And now I just have to tell myself, like, these are lame excuses. So it frustrates me to hear myself complain about anything when she's literally crossed the border, you know, almost like sacrificed her life to make it to this country. I got lucky to be born on this side of the border, and then to have this opportunity and complain about anything at all, like that, to me, that's silly. And to hear other people have excuses, that also kind of frustrates me. And I know that's probably me, but
no, it's not. It's something we talk about on the show all the time, is the mindset aspect of this business, right? Like, is there an opportunity that comes with having a harder upbringing that makes you appreciate certain aspects a lot better? Absolutely. And like your mom's experience and her being able to convey that to you absolutely made a difference in how you approach a real estate business. And I think that is the thing that separates people who end up becoming the top 10% or the top 2% to everybody else who either washes out or is good at this job but never reaches that next level. Right. It's just the part of it that, like, how hard is it really? Like, is it really that hard to get hung up on? Like, is it really that big of a fucking deal if somebody hangs up on you? No. But we all will avoid picking up the phone for a month to not have that happen to us, right? It's ridiculous. And I'm just as guilty of it as anybody else.
I mean, dude, we all are, but I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, dude, I don't know what story y'all needed to hear, but
if that wasn't it,
pumped up for 2021, but if that wasn't it, I don't know what the fuck you guys need.
I don't know what you're listening for.
Quite frankly, that's amazing.
And it's a story that's consistent. And what I think Johanna hasn't had the incredible luxury of hearing yet is other people who have had success in entrepreneurship tell their story. And all of their stories start with this level of confusion why nobody else could do it. Yeah. Right? Like, I heard Adam Hergenrother like talk about how many deals he penned in his first month, and he's like, some people in his office were asking him, like, how did you do so many? He's like, that's just what you guys said to do, so I just went and did it, right?
Because he's getting rid of the expectation that you shouldn't succeed, right? It's like, who the fuck says you can't do a lot?
Yeah,
you know, like,
and that's the whole mentality around it. It's like whenever you hear somebody really successful speak it, yes, there was a difficulty, but it usually starts with them being oblivious to how hard it was actually going to be. And I think that's what you got, which is badass.
100%, man. 100%.
Yeah, I love, I mean, even Raquel said, preach, girl, your mindset is everything. You find a way or you make one, right? And Paul Gilmore says she is a sponge. She asks questions and keeps going. So, I mean, look, I mean, that it's a testament to what you're doing. And if you were able to do that many in your first 60 days, as you're learning and wading through the waters and navigating this process, I mean, your career in this is going to, as long as you keep doing those actions and you don't lose the focus and the fire of that, I mean, sky's the limit, right? Where brand new agents fail, one, if they don't do that many transactions, one, they go broke. But when they start having success, they stop doing what got them there.
Yep.
right? So what my advice would be is don't think of this as a way to get it going and then you're going to stop. Think of this as a way to continue this momentum, and now you're able to use the leverage that Herg has built for you, right? And will get you now to doing 100 deals a year, and now you have more money coming in for whatever your goals are personally.
100%.
Dude, honestly, like, I just really appreciate you coming on and giving some juice to new agents, because you know, we get stuff all the time to remind us to go back to basics and stuff, and I think there's nothing more humbling than thinking you have it figured out and watching somebody come in and just literally take the opportunity that they're given and just not just like do good with it, run so far past your ass that you don't even realize,
dude. It is
what happened.
It is Victor Cruz putting up 3 touchdowns in his first preseason game when he came out of JUCO.
Yeah.
It's like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
Right.
So I think it's pretty badass, man. I appreciate you being on with us
Thank
today.
you.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
for coming on, Johanna. We're happy to be in business with you. You're a blessing, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap this up. This was a short show today. This was us getting
We're busy, y'all.
back into this new office space and making sure, like, we got to work on the internet connection. Obviously, that the video is a little choppy. We're still working that out. I know the audio was good. So if you are
going to buy
listening
more
to this,
interwebs.
yes,
We're gonna buy more webs for the interweb.
yes, and so the audio version of this will be on iTunes or Spotify. Go listen to that. I mean, this would be motivational at any time. Right?
Absolutely.
Whether you're brand new or a veteran in the agent. So go leave us a review. Go join the only real estate group worth being a part of, as well as subscribe to the YouTube channel, because we've got some things in the works.
We got some big things in the works. We're retrofitting a lot of stuff. We're gonna find new ways to bring you guys more valuable content at low or no cost. We'll figure all that out. But we've kind of spent the last year really listening to the people about what Tour Academy needs to be and what we want it to be about. And I think that we're going to be doing a lot more value-add stuff. We also might be doing a lot of in-person stuff.
Yes.
We're excited about the in-person stuff, man. I don't know how much longer the world's going to be the way it is, but at some point we want to get back in rooms with people.
We'll do plastic bubbles. We don't care. We're going to try and do some
Bubble boys.
Yes. So we're hoping to roll out an in-person event here, maybe not in Dallas.
Yeah.
Preferably
Maybe
not.
not even in the U.S.
I freaking live here. I would prefer to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But,
Yes.
Figure that out.
So, all right, guys, join us next week. We have on.
I don't know what we're doing next week. So here's the real reality, right? We've got Tarek coming up. We've got another guest who we've got on deck that we're trying to make work their schedule, that I think from a business building, spirituality standpoint, it's somebody that I kind of respect more than anybody else.
Yep. 2021
is the year of the guests. We learned that through Zoom and all these other things, we can have some amazing people on.
Yep.
And we're going to bring them to everybody. And we've already got, and honestly, shout out to Nick, working it. Tarek's going to be on, and it's going to be badass in a couple of weeks.
I'm excited for that,
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely. All right, guys, go share this out. Go tag people on this, and go leave us some reviews, because I check the iTunes reviews every day.
We need them.
Every day. So go do it. Download it there. Let's make sure that takes off, because that's how I used it to get Tarek on.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Have a great day.
AOB, take us out.
Hey, thank you for watching. We truly appreciate it, checking out another episode of the Only Real Estate Podcast worth listening to. If you're watching this on YouTube, please go ahead, hit that share button, hit that like button, and hit the subscribe button. Right? We're dropping more stuff on YouTube constantly. If you're on iTunes, leave us a review, please. We're really, really focused on